Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you guys two ways to recreate this dress, especially the upper part. So I have split the tutorial into two parts so that it doesn't get too long. Today's tutorial will be all about the pattern drafting and the next tutorial will be the sewing part. So do not forget to like, share and please subscribe to the channel. For this tutorial, you will need your basic bodice pattern. I'll be working with my front contoured bodice and my normal back bodice. The reason I'm using a front contoured bodice is because all excess has been removed around the neck area to give me that flattering neckline without any gaping. This is my normal front bodice. This is going to give me gaping around the neckline. Remember, the neckline of the dress we are recreating is a deep square neckline, so please take note of that. I have traced out the front and back bodies on a fresh paper like I'm showing you, and that's what we'll be working with. For those who do not know how to do contouring on their bodies, there are quite a number of videos here on YouTube on that, but if you'd like me to do a video on how to contour for different necklines, please let me know in the comment section. This point here is my bust point, and from that point I will go up by 1.5 inches and square it out. This will show small cleavage. So from your bust point, go up by how much covering or how much cleavage you want to show. On that line, I'll place my nipple to nipple measurement minus 1 inch. Half of that for me is 3.5 inches. This means the full width of my square neckline is 7 inches. I will square up that point to my shoulder line. From the armhole, I will come down by 2 inches. The width of my strap is 2 inches and I'll go ahead and connect these points. The half length of my bodice is 17 inches, but I'm using 16 inches as my half length for this dress, so I'm going to take out 1 inch from my bodice. The next thing I'm going to do is to transfer the bust dart to the waist dart. So I'm going to slash through the pattern, slash open the waist dart so that I can close in the bust dart. This was all I did for the front pattern. Before I tape in some paper on the waist dart to redraw the dart legs, we'll work on the back pattern. From the armhole of the back pattern, I will come down by 2 inches just like we did on the front pattern and square it across to the center back. The back pattern has no dart, so I'm going to remove my 1 inch dart from the waistline and redraw my side seam. From the center back, on that 2 inches line that was squared out, I'm going to place half of my nipple to nipple measurement of 3.5 inches and square it up to my shoulder line. Then I'll go ahead and mark the width of the strap of 2 inches. On the side seam, from that 2 inches point we came down from the armhole, I'm going to come down by 2.5 inches. You can come down by 3-4 inches if you want more coverage. Then my back half length is 16 inches just like in the front, so I'm going to remove that 1 inch as well. And the width of my belt from my center back is 2 inches. I'll connect these 2 points with the slight curved side of my ruler. From that center back there, you're going to extend it to the length of your belt. So this is my new back waistline. Remember, the lower part of this gown is curved at the center back. So I'm going to extend my center back line. You can extend it up to your hip level if you prefer. So I came down by 5 inches and I took this measurement from my old waistline. You can go down to your hip level if you prefer. So this is my upper hip, the distance from my waistline to my upper hip. So I squared it out and on that line I placed 1/4 of my upper hip measurement. The measurements used here doesn't really count. It's just for us to get the platform to create that curve, because we'll be slashing and spreading this part to create volume. From my new waistline now, I'll come down by 2 inches. So you come down by how much you want to show at your back. And I'll connect it back to my new waistline with the slight curved side of my ruler. So this is what your lower back pattern will look like. I hope all these lines are not confusing. This lower back pattern, we are going to duplicate it so that when we slash and spread and gather, we'll be able to gather it back correctly. Now back to the front pattern. I will tape in some paper on the dart and redraw the dart legs. From the bust point, I came down by 0.75 inch. Then I'll measure the distance between the dart legs and divide into 2 and redraw the darts. So guys, that's all for the pattern drafting. I'll go ahead and cut them out. Please do not forget to close in your waist dart and reshape your waistline before cutting out your pattern. This pattern will serve as the lining of the front pattern. I will retrace it out for the main pattern but with no strap. The pattern here is without seam allowance. The seam allowance for the lining of the front panel will be added while cutting on the fabric. So guys, these are all my pieces cut out with their lining. So this is the lining of the front body is cut with the strap. Then the main front body is cut without a strap. This is the back bodies. The strap of these back bodies will be cut together with the strap of the lining of the front. So the strap on these back bodies is for us to get our measurement accurately and for the right placement of the strap on the back band. This is the pattern for the lower back. This pattern will be slashed and spread to create volume for the back. Then we'll have the pattern for the strap, which will also serve as a pattern for the ruffles. The length of this strap is the length of the back and front strap plus the one that will pass on the front bodies. And for the ruffles, we'll be doubling the length of this strap to create the ruffles. So that's it for this method. We'll go ahead and draft the second method. This line here will serve as my neckline. My neck depth is 9.5 inches. So I'm going to place my tape on this line at 9.5 inches and mark my bust point of 11 inches and square it out. This means that the distance from my neckline to my bust point is 1.5 inches. So depending on how much coverage you want for your boobs, that's going to be the distance from your neckline to your bust point. With my tape on the bust point line at 11 inches, I will come down at 16 inches for my front half length and square out the point. On the neckline, I'm going to place my nipple to nipple measurement minus 1 inch. Half of that for me is 3.5 inches. I'll place the same measurement on the waistline. Then from the 3.5 inches point on the neckline, I will go out by 2 inches the width of my strap. I'll place the same measurement on the waistline as well. On the bust point line, I'll place 1/4 of my bust measurement, and on the waistline, I'll place 1/4 of my waist measurement with no dart allowance. I'll go ahead and connect all these points. From the side of the strap, I'll connect it to the bust measurement on the bust point line and draw in my side seam. From the waistline, I will go up by 1/2 inch and blend it back into the waistline to soften that area. So guys, that's all for the front panel for now. I'll go ahead and extend these lines for the back panel. On the bust point line of the back, I'll place 1/4 of my bust measurement, and on the waistline, I'll place 1/4 of my waist measurement with no dart allowance and join my side seam. On the bust point line from the center back, I'm going to place half of my nipple to nipple measurement of 3.5 inches. From that point, I'm going to mark the width of my strap of 2 inches. Then from the center back, from the bust point line, I'm going to come down by 2 inches the width of my belt. From the bust point line on the side seam, I came down by 2.5 inches. If you look at our inspiration photo, you will notice that there is a space between the back band and the back waistline. So for me, I took 2.5 inches, and that space on my pattern measured 2 inches. So depending on how much space you want to use, that's what you're going to mark here. So I'm going to connect that point with the slight curved side of my ruler to the line of the width of my belt. I'll replace the length of the side seam of the front to the back. Then from the waistline on the center back, I'm going to come down by 3 inches and connect it to this new point with the slight curved side of my ruler. From the 3 inches point, I came down about 4 inches and square out that point. This measurement doesn't really count, it's just for me to get a base, because we'll be slashing and spreading this part of the pattern. So on that line, I just placed 1/4 of my hip measurement and connected it back to that new waistline point. So guys, this is all for the pattern drafting. The only thing remaining now is to cut out the long strap and the ruffles. My front panel is going to be in 3 pieces. The middle one is the strap. So you're going to measure the strap from your back to the front and add to the one on the pattern. That's going to be the total length of your strap. So I'll go ahead and cut out this pattern and show you guys how it's going to be assembled. So guys, these are all my pieces cut out. My front panel is in 3 pieces. The only pattern that is not here is the strap and the ruffles, which are just long rectangles. So please stay tuned for the sewing part so that you know how to bring these pieces together. And if you'll be recreating this look, please let me know the method you use in the comment section. And don't forget to share your recreations with me on my Instagram or Facebook. I'd love to see what you make as well. All links will be in the description. And until my next one, à bientôt!